What's going on, everybody? It is 26th of Who Gives a Stuff. The Cats lost. This is The Hoop Show. My name is Ben Reeve, and I am joined on the show, as usual, by the man taking with pick 81 in the national draft, Mr. Paul James. How you going, Paul?
Flat as a tack, and still hearing the music in the ears, so as that starts to dial down. But, yeah, still a bit flat. It was a pretty disappointing result yesterday, so...
Yeah, that's an understatement.
We'll bounce back.
We'll bounce back, but we don't get to bounce back for 12 months, unfortunately, until we have another crack at it. And there's a hell of a lot of work to get back there again. So we've got a lot of stuff to cover today. Thank you if you're joining us on live. If you're watching this on replay, thank you for joining us as well. If you haven't already, give us a sub. Help us get to 1,000 subs. We're keen to get there. But Paul, mate, take us through the result. Let's go through the stats like you always do. Oh, it's tough looking at that score.
Yeah, I mean, Brisbane held the lead for the majority of the game, and ultimately when the siren sounded, as per what the screen shows there. But really, I think it's fair to say that the Cats were the more dominant team for the night. We kind of let them off the hook early in the first quarter with a few goals. It was 13-1 at quarter time there, but really we were playing the better game. We played the better game, like we really played the full four-quarter game that we've been talking about for ages. How important it was to do that. They delivered all that, but unfortunately, 5-4 versus 6-2, and the umpiring, which we'll get to shortly, did us in. So 2 to Davidson, and that's probably it for Davidson for the finals, I suspect.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
1-1 to O'Dwyer, 1 to Hodder, 21 disposals to Dawes and O'Dwyer, 16 to Anderson, whilst for the Cats, Jackie Parry with 2 straight. Maloney just continuing to show that, she's played the game for 15 weeks and it just does not matter. Chloe Shear with 1-1 coming back from the dead to make it for the prelim final. And on the disposal front, we've got Georgie Press-Parkers with 21, Nina Morrison with 20, and Amy McDonald, the usual suspects, but Amy with 15 there to wrap things up for the Cats, unfortunately, for the year. And
pretty much all of Amy McDonald's touches in the second half. She had a massive second half.
She went completely missing in the first quarter.
And 3 or 4 touches, I think, by half time. So they did a fantastic job of blanketing her for that first little bit. It was. We took our time getting into the game, but we weren't out of the game, really, were we? And as you said off the top, it was a 4-quarter effort. I was actually at, I don't know if you saw my tweet. I was having a garlic naan at the local Indian tandoori place up the road.
I missed that.
So I missed the first few minutes of the game. I went to pay at the register and check the score, and I saw we were already a goal down. I thought, oh, this isn't going well.
Yeah, it was.
And then I saw the replay later on. Oh, my goodness. I should have had the video up. But then I saw the replay later on. I'm like, that is clearly touched. And I'm already probably peeking, screaming into the microphone. This is a rage review, people. So get ready. If there may be a swear or two as well thrown in. But
sorry, kids.
Oh, mate. Was that touched or was that just me with my Geelong goggles on?
No, and I've captured that thing and then I've frame by framed it, and mate, we don't even need goal line footage to like that raw Channel 7 footage is enough to show that it was touched. So
every single Geelong player straight away said it was touched. Usually I don't worry about the technology. Usually you trust the player. If they straight away say it's touched and then people around them say it, you got to believe them. It's usually when a bloke gets a guy high or a woman gets a tackle someone high, they go, "Oh, I didn't touch him. It's like it's a giveaway."
And that's the guilt. That's the guilt thing too. So,
oh God. Anyway, so 47 seconds in, we're already a goal down, and for the rest of the game, we were pretty much neck and neck. Really, we hit the front a few times. They hit the front again within a second, which was very frustrating. But
yeah, the first 2 times we got in front there, they'd instantly kick a goal and snatch it back, which was frustrating. But I mean, even the final time, we didn't hold the lead all that long in the grand scheme of things. It's such a disappointing result. And we are going to rant long and hard about the umpires shortly.
Hold your fire.
I guess, like I tweeted this out at 3/4 time. At the end of the day, whatever and this was my perspective before things played out the way they did. there's so much obviously to be proud about for what these girls accomplished
Yes.
this year. Prelim finals, extraordinary effort. After kind of the heartbreak of the way the elimination final played out last year, kicking 1-8 in that particular final, even one straighter kick, and we would have been marching on there. So I don't know. It's disappointing, but there's so many positives to look at here, and what we do with the list going forward. Whether we can kind of pluck someone else out to address a need, whether it's development from within, remains to be seen. I guess the way we've kind of followed AFLW is, developing as opposed to kind of our, well and truly established knowledge of the men's team. So I'm not, I don't feel like I can speak quite as authoritatively at the moment as to the really clear and obvious needs for the Cats. So I think there's some little areas that could be room for improvement, but nothing overly substantial. I don't know. We're right there and thereabouts, and I guess you pair that with the result today that North got up over Adelaide, and I am all aboard the North Melbourne bandwagon. I'm just so keen to see this Brisbane, Melbourne, Adelaide trio of teams that have just dominated the competition up to this point broken up. So up, what do they say? Can get. Yeah, I'm not going to do it.
Oh God, don't start that. Look, I'll be honest, mate. Well, welcome to the chat. If you've just joined us in the last few minutes, I've followed the women's comp for probably since day one. But in all honesty, I haven't been incredibly invested, and I'm going to say that's because I've really struggled. They've all been there's been 22 or how many players there are. They've all been foreign to me. I didn't know who they were day one, and it's taken me a while. It's taken me a while to get to know them. And I can confidently say now I know every single one of them that runs out in the hoops, and I get dirty when some players like our favourite Brooke Plummer, one of our favourites, doesn't get picked. I dirty up every week at selection. She's always on the always in the emergencies
list, yeah.
But I am absolutely into it, and I was just thinking, it feels like I got really into the Women's World Cup as well, and it feels like that sort of love that we had for the Matildas as well. It's just I have to say right now, if you said, Ben, there's 2 free tickets to go and watch the Matildas at the MCG, but it clashes with round 1 of the AFLW, I'm going to the AFLW, mate. I am absolutely all aboard this team. I am on board with this team, and take nothing away from the Matildas; they're fantastic, but
this is our game too. Like this is our bread and butter, this sport. So, I guess I'm a little bit the same in part due to the fact that obviously the Cats women's team wasn't there from the get go, and so the investment in the competition, I wanted to support it, but I didn't have my team, and so before the Cats got there, I couldn't get myself up and about to watch the game when I didn't have a horse in the race. So since the girls have emerged in the comp, and there was some hard lessons early on, but you're seeing that gradual build, and we've been talking about this in the last 12 months, since kind of 24 months as we've been building out this platform. You could just see the foundations of a team that was going to be really, really strong and quite potent going forward. And we're pretty close. Yeah. We're pretty close. Yeah, so, exactly.
And poor old Nina Morrison did her knee once or twice to start off her career as well. So we didn't see the best of her straight away. And watch out for her and Georgie Prasparkas in the next couple of years. And if we can just add 1 or 2 more pieces, this list is going to be absolutely incredible. Fingers crossed we can pick someone up in the draft. I feel like we are becoming one of those clubs in the AFLW. Maybe a destination club now. We have lost a hell of a lot of good players. Laura Gardner springs to mind. We probably didn't give her the respect that she deserved, but she's gone off to Sydney and absolutely become one of the stars of the comp. And Liv Purcell, and there's probably a bunch of others. Let us know in the chat who we've forgotten. But mate, look, I think you're right. I think we'll get to the umpires in a second. We will not forget to talk about the umpires on this show, or the umpiring, I probably should say, rather than singling out those that were there on the day. But
it's a bit of both.
We've got to be incredibly proud of this team. They were fantastic all year round in the finals. But in the back end of the season, when we, probably halfway through, we thought, the wheels are starting to fall off here. Things aren't going too well. We're dropping games to Collingwood, who didn't even make the finals in the end. And then we just went on this nice little run. We hit the form at the right time. Everything just started to click. Amy McDonald sort of came back. She found that form again that she had from last year. Not that she really lost it, but some others maybe sort of went ahead of her.
Yeah,
exactly right. So look, I just think it's been a terrific season. It's really hard to cop the loss, and I do not blame a single player in that team for the losing result last night. I think they gave
No.
it everything they could have. I'm not also going to say, and
it was more like the Brisbane's 19th, 20th, and 21st player that really had something to do with it.
Exactly. And I was going to say, I'm not necessarily going to say that if the umpires had have been a little bit better on the day, we would have won. However, I don't think Brisbane. I don't know. I have to admit, I'm a little bit biased towards Geelong, and I'm looking for the decisions that don't go against us. I'm probably not seeing the ones that don't go against Brisbane. But I think, if anything, Geelong probably had a chance of winning that game that was taken away from us. And whereas,
but
Brisbane
then you pair it with touch goals at the beginning of the game. I mean, everything else fell into place, but they made the correct decision with that one, and the result would have been different anyway. So,
it was the last minute that really, we're getting onto it. I told you, I said I wouldn't, but I'm going to do it anyway because I'm angry. That last minute of the game, how many free kicks could you have paid Geelong's way? And yes, as I said, the goggles are on. The Geelong goggles are firmly fixed. But, oh my God, there was like 3 or 4. And in the very last one where I think it was a free kick on the boundary, it was about 67 metres out, but they just booted it, 20 metres away. It's like, hang on, that's 50 metres. What's going on here? But no, the umpires had already signed off for the year. And oh, mate, I'm heartbroken as a fan watching it. I'm heartbroken for the whole club who really got behind it. I'm so proud of all the fans, proud of the players, of course. But just to say the wheels have turned and everyone's starting to go, hang on, this is actually pretty good footy. This standard of competition, not just Geelong, but the AFLW competition, it's really turned a corner this year. And you have to think it's going to improve again as we start getting more and more of these 18-year-olds coming through. It's a fantastic product. It will never be as good as the men's product, okay? It doesn't mean, as in the standard will never be as good. It doesn't mean it won't be as enjoyable. And if anything, you feel more connected to the players in some way because of that community feel. I don't know, mate. I'm
not quite of the mind that it'll never hit the same standard, but there are different expectations I think we'll have to have. I mean, if we can lean right into biological things and stuff that might mean that the women can't kick as far, and like there's those sorts of components that will always make the game. And this is where I think setting aside our Geelong bias from last night, and I think we even discussed this a little bit last week on the show. The nature of the game, the fact that the women can't kick it quite as far means that the game is more contested. It's more bottled up. It's more of the rolling scrum that we kind of hated about the men's game for, kind of that post our success of 2011, but that period of Hawthorn's dominance and Sydney going at them and just really ugly game styles kind of going head to head in the AFL, working their hardest to kind of break it up. The women's one is naturally going to be a little bit more like that because of it. But that's where you need your umpires to be on the ball because yes, we can focus on the last minute, but the number of times just across the game where, and don't get me wrong, like there was a few times where we should have been pinged as well. But
across the season, actually.
And across the season, of course. So I think last night being a final, I think it really highlights it. Because
every decision, every kick, every possession, every tackle, it's highlighted. Everything is in the spotlight in a final.
Yeah.
So I cut you off.
No, you're right though. And so I think we're always going to have that. And so it puts more onus on the umpires to get these calls right. When someone holds the ball, you've got to ping them because it's a free kick and it's, maybe 30, 40, 50 meters of movement, free movement, which doesn't always occur in the kind of the more natural aspects of the game. So yeah, the umpiring really needs to improve.
It seems, and
you hope that as much as we were the ones on the receiving end here, you just hope that. I mean, if this was the men's comp, the amount of scrutiny that would have been directed at the AFL over it would have been insane. But so far, I think all I've seen really has been a tweet by Mark Stevens, and then obviously the Geelong supporter base. John
Ralph's been up and about a little bit.
John Ralph. John Ralph. I mixed my Mark Stevens and John Ralph's there. Sorry, John Ralph. Had tweeted a little bit about it, and specifically around that last minute. But it's just, I don't know. They need to have a look at it. It can't be, if you want to take this women's league seriously, and speaking for I think everyone who kind of watches All Things Hoop Show, we all want this thing to be taken incredibly seriously. Well, then you've got to raise the standard of the umpiring. That's where it's got to start.
Yeah, Brendan in the chat says Nick Wade as well, and John Ralph. Look, I think it's been all year. I think the standard of the umpiring is the thing, and while in an isolated game we pick on the umpires, and sometimes I feel bad about doing it sometimes, but it's a final, and I lose my head a little bit. But it's like it's not even their fault. It's the fact that where are these really hot? Where are these umpires that you see in the men's comp? That the really great, good umpires. It's like,
where's Razor?
Like the AFL. Where's Razor?
Where's our mate Razor?
The AFL does not care about the women's competition. The media, for the majority, a fair chunk of the media, I'm not talking about the commentators. A couple of them just really buy in and they absolutely love it. It's fan, and you can tell there's passion there. But the production team, some of just watching on the TV, just watching, how there's the score in the bottom left of the corner, the top. It's not even updating. It's like, what is going on? Like, if that is happening in the men's comp, people will be all over Twitter, blah, blah, blah. I just think, come on, can you keep up with the standard of the competition is getting better by 10 or 15% every year? Can everyone else recognize that and actually improve as well? I think the fans are starting to come on board as now, and it's almost like they wanted to fail.
You kind of mentioned, the fans coming on board, something that I think that the chaps highlighted in a tweet last night. And this was, this is purely around the Geelong supporter base. So, but I think we can extrapolate a bit for the broader competition. They presented a screenshot. It was the Instagram post from the Cats women's account last year when we lost to North versus this year and the result last night. Now, I'm sure elements of the controversy from last night maybe kind of fueled things a little bit, but it just kind of said, like, it tells you a little bit about the level of engagement with this thing, where last year the kind of tweet by the Cats that was full time, we fought hard, our season, the 7 journey comes to an end, 657 likes or engagements of some sort, and 25 comments. Cast your eye forward to this year, where the number of likes is 5 times that, more than 3,000 likes or engagements, and 123 comments. Like the engagement's there, the supporter base engagement is there, it's building, it's all the things we want to see. So again, let's extrapolate that to the broader comp. Like the whole thing needs to be taken more seriously. People are interested. People are keen. People want to see their team successful. Now every team is represented too. So we don't have a scenario like, say, what I was describing before, where like, okay, I want to support this, but I don't have my team. Well, none of us have that excuse anymore.
Exactly.
And the standard of the game is, as you say, it's lifting season after season. So
it's a long way from it's not at the finished product yet, but it is, as I said, it is improving 10, 15, 20% year on year. We're just not seeing that in all other areas of the competition, unfortunately. We're seeing that with fan engagement. We're seeing that on the field. And we're definitely seeing it with all the coaches as well. But yeah, sadly, it doesn't seem like mainstream media and the AFL house really wants to invest as much as they should. There's probably people there within those organizations that genuinely do care and are really passionate. But I just, as a whole, it just doesn't feel like, we're seeing that. So this started off as a bit of a whinge about the umpires, but I guess it's trying to make
it's a broader thing. It's about
it's not just about Geelong lost because of the umpires. It was so frustrating that we lost a close game that, yes, maybe it wouldn't have gone Geelong's way anyway, but it was so heavily influenced by the decisions or non-decisions, probably more to the point.
Because the standard is not high enough.
The standard wasn't high enough.
Which is then emblematic of a broader thing.
Yeah. Look, if I got selected to open the bowling for Australia this Test series and was just bowling every second ball, no balls, you'd be disappointed with the decision.
You'd be Steve Harmison on the first ball of the Ashes, right?
I am not up to it, but I don't claim to be. And there are better bowlers in Australia than me. Yes, you said Steve Harmison. I did watch a replay of that the other day. That was quite funny.
It said it. Good times.
There are other people out there that can do a better job. So I know it's going to cost more money and all this sort of stuff. But anyway, so look, the umpires weren't great. I think we've touched on it. We're very angry. I think we all agree, and let us know if you disagree in the chat. But I think we should all be proud of the Catters, the way they went about it, from everyone involved at the club, media team, social media, the players, the coaches, the administrators, everyone. Just a fantastic season, and I cannot wait to round 1 next year. Clearly, we're excited about the men's game, 100% we are, but I'm up and about for the women's comp, and I hope round 1 next year we can get 10,000 people there. I know it's not a final, but I hope some of this stuff carries on. I hope some of this
goes back to our investment thing, but part of it is what is the AFL going to do to try and enhance it further? I mean, I blew up Jackie McDonald's quote there on the screen before for people, like the no score review thing. It's because they're not using the AFL, like the top tier AFL standard grounds outside of GMHBA. And so none of them have those facilities, but if they take it more seriously and they put it at these bigger grounds, and I'm not saying necessarily we need to go to the MCG all the time because there's a whole range of constraints around that, but they've got to do more to engage these big stadiums and get the technology there. And again, it adds to the integrity of the product and makes people buy in more.
Yeah, I don't completely agree with you that we should play at bigger stadiums. I mean, apart from GMHBA and Kadini Park, we love playing at home, but I like the boutique stadium, the small feel, having people around you, that more intimate side of things. I think it has a different vibe to it, but and I can almost live without that goal line technology as long as we get the standard of umpiring's a little higher. So yeah, anyway, that's just we'll probably touch on this during one of our off-season shows, Paul, which is a nice little, we've got about 10 or 12 weeks of Sunday shows coming, which we'll bank a few of those, but we're going to talk about a few different topical issues going on in the AFL football world over the next 12 months, just to get us through to the pre-season period and all that sort of stuff. But that should be a lot of fun. So hopefully
keep you, the viewer, engaged.
Very much so. And it'll be very much passionate like this because I've written these topics in a way that Paul and I aren't going to agree on them all. And I'm going to challenge him. And sure enough, Paul always challenges me as well because I'm the one that comes up with the harebrained ideas. But I'm going to call Paul out, though, if I see something a bit different. But, mate, all right. So, look, you mentioned before Chloe Shear came back from ripping her shoulder off.
From the dead.
From the dead. Hairline crack in the shoulder. Didn't the girls get around her when she kicked that goal from 45 metres out around the bend? Doesn't need much time, does she? Just snap, bang,
giant
goal.
Oof. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. So she was great. I thought, I think you mentioned Ashley Maloney, didn't you?
Ashley Maloney, yeah.
Yeah, you might have mentioned her. She just goes from strength to strength. And Jackie Parry, we'd be lost without her. We wouldn't have even been in the contest without her couple of goals there. So she was fantastic as well. So yeah, look, I've run the poll. Well, let's talk about the roll of honour because it's got maybe a couple hours to go, Paul. But who do you think's leading the roll of honour at the moment? You might have had a sneak peek, but
yeah, I've had a look recently. So it's our typical front runners.
Yeah. Well, I chucked Jackie Parry in there and Rachel Kearns. I thought probably played her best game of the season, the biggest game of the season, really. But as it stands, this is about 6:30 at night, roughly. At the time I did a screenshot of this one. Looks like Georgie's going to take it. I can't see Nina gaining another 10% on her between now and then.
Check the live numbers just to
check the live numbers.
See how we're traveling.
Check those live numbers. Yeah,
it's remained pretty well the same.
Big stick. So, which Maloney are you talking about? Because we've got a couple. We've got a couple of McDonald's, a couple of Maloney's. I thought they were both pretty good.
Actually, both Maloney's were pretty excellent on the night. So
the debutante didn't really get a stack of it, but I don't want to pot her too much. First game of AFL and big game. Probably I don't know if I agree with the decision to play her, but maybe we didn't have a choice. Just the lack of numbers. Anna Rose Kennedy, I think it was. But
she unfortunately did not register a disposal for the night.
No. So I nearly gave away 50 at one point. I was like, oh, God, get back! He's like 2 meters over the mark. It was like they were about 80 meters out. I was like, oh,
wasn't
no.
Ideal.
So look, I think Georgie's taking this one out, and I'm happy for Georgie that she got the BOG in the finals because she hadn't done it yet. And I will run a poll in case you are interested, people. I will run a poll for our finals medalist, best player in the finals. I'm not calling it the Gary Ayres medal. We're going to come up with a better name. If you have a good idea, please let us know in the chat. I don't know. I have to think of something. The Mel Hickey or something. I don't know. The first captain of the Cats. Who knows? Come up with a name. And
there we go. Big Stick is clarifying. We are talking about the tall redheaded. So
Ashley Maloney. It's very good. She is a star. She'd probably be close to. She'd be on the podium for me for sure.
She's been excellent. What a debut season.
She's been fantastic.
One thing we should shout out that we kind of skipped past is Renee Gehring and her retirement and being chaired off at the end there, which was a really nice moment. A shame she couldn't be sent out quite the way that we'd wanted, but fantastic achievement and went out with her head held high. She played a pretty fantastic game last night too, just in her final performance. So.
Tackling machine. She was great. She was fantastic. You just wanted her to get that one more game. And every time we get through another week, it's like, well, one more, please.
Yeah.
Just wasn't to be. But it was a really emotional moment seeing her get chaired off. Darbs and Meg Mack did the cheering. So yeah, she's probably pretty easy to. She's a little thing, so I assume they managed it reasonably well. But
I mean,
I was
small enough. They picked her up and started twirling her at one point.
Yeah.
She's a small girl. And there's muscle lifting her. So
heaps of muscle there. So yeah, look, it was a fantastic career. One of the first cats, and she'll go down if they write a book in 50 years, 100 years time. Her name will be there as one of the original catters. So yeah, it was really sad, and it was really sad seeing them walk off, or seeing some photos. I think I put up some photos of them walking off the ground, and the Geelong fans just clapping them and cheering them, and the heads were down a little bit, but from the players. But
they'll be back. They'll
be gutted. They will be back, but they must feel a little bit gutted. They still saw some smiles in the change rooms and all that, and they probably take it a little bit better than the blokes too, to be honest. Yeah, it's really sad, but they should be very proud, and we've gone on that. So look at the big player, probably the best player for Brisbane, or at least to my eye, was Dakota Davidson, and we talked about her before. Max Gawn. Max Gawn. Yeah, could be. Well, maybe it's one of those ones that it's a grand final. We'll just stick you in the goal square and we'll see what happens. But she's
a tall girl. Like you could just pop it on her head and see what she can do, but any sideways movement, I think, is going to be an issue because Have they confirmed confirmed the nature of the knee injury in the end?
I feel unlikely.
It looks.
I think she's
ACL-y.
Yeah, I when I first thought, I was like, is that a PCL or I don't know, but yeah, it's not looking good. And yeah, they're going to, North's going to be pretty hard to beat. North did beat Adelaide by 1 point, people. So we are happy. We are happy that Adelaide.
We've got our finals team.
Out. But we don't want Brisbane to win another one, do we? Can we just let someone else win?
No, that goes back to my point before. We're sick of that Melbourne, Adelaide, and Brisbane kind of trio that's been dominating the comp since its inception. So
look,
up the
grand final. The grand final is on Sunday, strangely. I think 2:30 in the afternoon at Icon Park, North Melbourne home game. So get the
goal line tech out.
Get the goal line technology out. Get Razor Ray, as you said. Who else can we get from the senior umpiring team? Get them out of retirement. They're probably in Bali or something at the moment. I think Ray's doing speaking tours out somewhere at the moment, probably. But yeah, mate. Unfortunately, we don't have a game. Geelong normally in this show, we've always had a game to look forward to the next week. But unfortunately, now we're just looking forward to Wacky Wednesday or whatever it is, Mad Monday or Wacky Wednesday. I don't know what the girls do to break the season up. I'm assuming they've arrived back in Geelong or wherever they live by now. But on the Terps for the next few days and enjoy a season that was. As I said, very proud of them, and they should be proud of themselves. But nothing for us to look forward to for a long, long stretch now. Us Geelong supporters. There'll be always things happening. We've had some news in Catland, a big news in the GMHBA stadium redevelopment. Do you want to give us your thoughts on the name that we've gone with there?
I didn't expect it, but I'm stoked that Joel has been represented the way he has. So yeah, the Northern Stand will be the Joel Selwood stand, and
not the Troy Selwood stand. Not the Scott Selwood.
I enjoyed some of the Troy
as much as they've tried to claim it.
Well, I think the chaps really tried to lean in with Troy there, and he bit back briefly too, which was awesome.
He did.
But I mean, I think it's a fantastic choice. I think I'd rather it be the Selwood stand as opposed to the Joel. I agree. Get it. We're honing in on Joel, but I'm more thinking about just kind of the way it reads.
Yeah.
But then again, we did have the Gary Ablett Terrace and.
Don't forget, Troy Selwood win
and all those sort of things. So, it's not unusual, I guess. But
Troy Selwood did win a VFL premiership, didn't he, with us? Pretty sure. So, anyway, not quite the same as 4 AFL premierships over 15 or 16 years. But Brendan says the VFL
captain of all time and all that sort of stuff.
The VFLW season isn't too far away, so I'm not sure what too far away means. Hopefully, it's a couple of weeks away, but I imagine it's probably. Early part of the year. Hopefully we'll get. I know Sheary lined up for a couple of games last year, and Renee Gehring did as well. In her comeback, but hopefully we'll get something, some Cats content coming soon. Anyway, so yeah, the Selwood stand. I'm pretty happy with that. There's the Gary Ablett Terrace. I think is it just the Ablett Terrace or the Gary Ablett Terrace? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not too sure.
Good old Jeff Ablett. Got to give him a mention as well. A bit like the Selwood brothers. We've had a few Ablets play for the club. Obviously, the Nathan
beyond the two Garys and Nathan,
Nathan as well. Yep. And I don't know if you caught the news today, mate. Just as we start to sort of wind things up on the show, Mitch Duncan did a little fluff piece on Channel 7 talking about how he's been over in the States and getting his calf or his Achilles or whatever it is, getting that worked on, and he's keen to go beyond 2024. So how do you feel about that? Is it realistic? I don't know.
I mean, if the only thing that's really a barrier to Mitch, like he hasn't, despite the repeated kind of calf issues that he's had, he hasn't had, substantial loss of speed or polish or any of those sort of things. In fact, usually his roughest period is when he's just come back there and he's just a bit rusty with his disposal, and that's his strongest asset. So if he can stay out on the paddock, then that is a huge win for us as well.
I hope he does. I think he might have to cop a little bit of time in the VFL. I think that's going to be the hard part as we transition. Are these guys, are their egos in check? Can they handle playing a few games in the VFL? I don't want to be holding guys back. Like, do you want your boy Mitch Nevitt held back in 2024 because we want to play someone like
It won't matter. He won't get held back.
He won't get held back, but I just don't want these little kids, these kids or these developing types. We're going to play Stanley over Toby Conway, and Toby's just running around in the VFL. Like, what is going on? Can we? I get it. Like, you're not going to probably play every single game, but it's time. It feels like it's time. It doesn't feel like we can go again 2 years after the oldest team in grand final history ran out on the park that is going to win another premiership. Yeah. So it's a sort of a transition on the run as we tend to do. We're pretty good at that, but I think a lot more of that youth element coming through now. And we need to start seeing. We need a couple of blokes to really sort of step up next year, and I think we'll see it in the women's comp too. I think Brooke Plummer, I think Brendan's saying Brooke Plummer's getting out there in the VFL as well. Unfortunately, I only got the one game, as I said, emergency a few weeks, but bless you, Gesundheit.
Sorry.
So hopefully we'll get her out and we'll get to see her running around. They do play, if you are interested in watching the VFL team, and Brendan, I'm sure you're all across it, but correct me if I'm wrong, but they do play a fair bit of their games at Deakin University, which is just drive your car up, park your car, and it's just like watching a local footy game. And there's probably maybe 100 to 300 Geelong support. Maybe that's exaggerating slightly, but there's easily 100 people there supporting the Cats in the VFL women's or usually the women's team. So that's always a bit of fun. I've dragged my kids along a couple of times. So Brendan, if I see you there with your signs, if you don't know who Brendan is, people, and you're watching, he's the bloke and his daughter and kids and family. They're holding up the signs. The one you probably recognise is the Georgie Prasparkas one. But there was an Ashley Maloning one as well, which is great. So he's a very good art graphic designer, I think you are. So I look forward
putting
to
those skills to amazing use.
And the stuff and the work you're doing and your daughter's doing on Insta as well. The surprise visit to the airport, that was great. I don't know if you saw that, Paul, but they got the family got the family in the car and like, where are we going? It's like, oh, I don't know. And then they pulled into the airport and. I'm sorry, Brendan, I forgot your little one's name, but yeah, she's all, oh my god, we're going to watch the Cats. And it's like the best thing ever. It was so wholesome. It was great. It was fantastic. I loved it. I just absolutely loved it. So keep that stuff going, mate. We love it. Paul, as I said before, we've got is there anything else you want to touch on the game before I start winding things down a little bit?
Not so much from the game, but we've still got the draft to discuss as well.
Oh, we do. Men's and draft. You did a nice long live reaction.
Live watch along there for up until we got Connor O'Sullivan, at which point I had to bounce because I had another interview to go do. But
you did.
What are you thinking? I guess that top level sort of thing, because we can kind of rant about this for a while. And I think we want to keep the show fairly tight. But
yes.
What do you make of the selections? Obviously, beginning with Connor O'Sullivan, but then everything that we did in night 2.
Yeah, look, I liked that we split a pick. Oh, we pushed our pick 9 back to pick 11, and we got the extra second round pick from Essendon there, I think it was.
Yes.
So I enjoyed that we got the extra player in. It's hard to know, and I said this. I did a draft haul video after your one, and I was like, I don't know. I can't judge it just yet. I just need to see them run out in the park. I need to see the reports coming from training. Who's surprised, all that sort of stuff. I mean, the best players, we just haven't really had, Max Holmes is one that really stands out to me in the last few years. Cooper Stevens has already flown the coop. And as I expected, Jordan Clark went back to WA. I thought we'd be part of that Tim Kelly thing, but or something like that. But now we've got a couple of boys from WA, and there's a bloke who's quite quite handy footballer who's just been drafted number 1, a Geelong supporter, and a good mate. I don't know if you saw the article from Anna Pavlo. She was actually talking about how Eagles have just picked his best mate or one of his best mates to play in their waffle side. So
yeah, right.
So
they're trying to keep him there. Trying to keep him there.
I'm trying to, but Geelong,
dirty tactics. I don't want any of it. Harley Reid's coming back to Geelong in a few years, but anyway.
The call of Geelong is very, very strong. So just give it a couple of years, 2 or 3 years, and then maybe we'll package up some WA boys. If Mitch Duncan still wants to go around again in 2026, I love Mitch, 2-time premiership player.
We're not shipping him off. You can't do that to him.
Harley
Reid,
retire
him or nothing.
Strong
but I mean, like there's all the you've done kind of the deep dive, and I did the live react, so we don't need to go too deep into it. But we're basically all, there's everyone we've picked up, and then you can really, as far as I'm concerned, toss Jai Clark in as essentially a new draftee as well. We got to see 10 minutes of him before his ankle. And same with Toby. And actually, look, it's fascinating. It's great to see finally the investment in the ruck. You've got Toby Conway, who's there or thereabouts now, and potentially nearly ready to go. But of course, you got Mitchell Edwards the other night, who just the way he even spoke in some of the interviews and bits and pieces, like he's got that bit of mongrel in him. Like he will not lose a ruck contest as far as he's concerned, and hates losing it. So. There's that little bit of investment in the ruck. Finally, they can't just say, okay, we're going to rely on Reece Stanley will do, and we'll try Zach Smith, and oh no, not quite, okay, whatever. But we'll stick with Reece, and no, they're now looking to try and build it from within, which is fantastic, and really interesting.
It's a shift, isn't it? It is, but it has been And I did the breakdown of how many players we've traded in, how many we've picked up in the national draft and the rookie draft and all that. And it has been, the strategy has been in recent years to keep the era going for a little bit longer. And it has been all about trades. Well, not all about trades, but significantly players that have come in and added to our success have been players we've traded in. So I think we're going to slightly go in a different direction. We picked up a few players last year and Jezza, but I don't see... apart from Bailey Smith, I didn't do that this time, but Bailey maybe. I still think that's going to fall over. It won't happen. It may not happen, but But we'll see if we can get some more players in through the door. But I think it'll be built through the trade as we go along a little bit.
Yeah.
I liked George Stevens. I couldn't remember I was trying to compare him to the Bondi vet. Couldn't remember his name, but the big jaw, and he spoke really well in front of the cat shop the other day when they were doing all the interviews with the new guys. So I really like what I saw there. Warrnambool boy, big solid bloke from Warrnambool. Lacks a little bit of speed, but apparently
Chris Brown is the Bondi
Chris
vet.
Brown, there you go. Not the rapper. Dated Rihanna. But anyway. What do you think of the crowd cheering Josh Giddey the other day? Slight sidetrack there. Not good. Anyway, we digress.
The Americans showing that the Americans have got absolutely no idea between that and that's two kind of indiscretions in the last week when it comes to between Miles Bridges and then Josh Giddey. All right.
If you are tuning into this channel for the very first time, we are the Hoops channel. It's the Hoops of Geelong, not the basketball hoops. But Paul and I both love our basketball, and Paul plays. Do you still play on a Wednesday, Paul?
Still playing on a Wednesday night.
Still winning rings and all that stuff. No, still draining them from deep.
Ring, unfortunately,
30 foot. Fortunately,
well, you know what I mean. No other rings.
Yeah, no, exactly what you mean.
Could have worded that much better.
Don't worry.
My wife will clip that out, and
does she watch the show? I don't know if my partner does.
I don't know, but I bet this will be the one time she watches it, and I will have done myself in with some poor,
I'm going to
wording.
If someone's out there that just wants to clip this little part of the show,
can we not?
Can we not? Oh, mate. Look, I think just to round up the draft stuff, I was pretty happy with the picks. But as I said, I just don't know. I want to see what happens the first year or two. It's really hard to judge. Like when is Max Holmes going to become an absolute star? He had no right to be when we picked him up. What was he, pick 20 or something like that? Generally you don't expect blokes like that to be in conversation. I mean, I was talking about him being a potential Brownlow medalist. Like that's not a conversation. But yeah, exactly. It's not something dangerous as well, as you said. Yeah, but it's not something you expect a pick 20 to become. But sometimes you get lucky. But we've missed a couple as well. So, and we're yet to see Toby Conway. We haven't seen him, and he's not going to be an All-Australian in 2024. He won't be, so don't ride him too hard.
But he took the All-Australian ruckman from this year to the cleaners when he had a chance in that final game. So
he's going to be hit and miss some weeks, though. So I don't think we should ride him too hard. I think we're a reasonably intelligent footy club that we, as fans, we're not going to have a crack at some bloke, a young, tall, developing ruckman who doesn't, get 25 touches and kick 2 goals in year 3 or whatever it is. So we just want him to play games. That's all I want. I want him to play 15 or 16 games next year.
Get his body right, all that sort of stuff.
With support from Reece or support Reece, whatever it is. And then, the following year, really just take over the competition. I think that's what I'd like to see from him. So
100%.
But mate, I want to thank you, Paul, because you did a fantastic job on that review. So, and we'll have to get you now that you've done such a great job of it. Now you're going to have to do it next year as well. So,
the live reaction to the draft.
We're going to have to do that. We
might make sure I won't have any game development interviews to do straight afterwards, so I don't have to bounce and I can sit it out.
And we'll double it up next year. We'll do a live review of the round the second night as well. I don't think we can do the rookie one because they don't televise that one. So. You can sit there refreshing your Twitter feed if you want to do that, but I don't think it's going to be too exciting for everyone else. So, look, as we touched on, just as we round things up, we did talk about Paul and I will be still on your screens, whether it be your TV, your phone, your laptop, whatever it is. We'll still be here Sunday nights throughout the summer period. We're going to start banking some episodes. I don't know which one we've got coming up first, Paul. I have jigged things a little bit, so you might be. I'll give you maybe a week's heads up to get your head around some of the topics that we're going to be talking about. But I want you to come in a little bit cold. I don't want you to have
Mate, don't worry, I'm not going to write notes. It's all here.
But I want you to have a couple of days to think about it a little bit. Okay, well, what's my opinion on that? And it'll be very fast paced. We won't have long on every single thing, but we're going to tackle the big issues. I think I know what the first one is. I'll give you a little hint. I think it is our early predictions for 2024. There you go. So now let's come back to me. So that'll be one that we'll book. This will be an episode that we'll bookmark and we'll come back to at various points in the season to see how wrong Paul got it and how accurate I was. So I'm sure that'll be fun to look back on as we go along.
Yeah, maybe.
Hannah Rose is a rocket. Mandy Prez was there. She'll be a good pickup. Sorry, I'm just looking in the comments there from you can have a crack at pronouncing that. I'm no good, sorry. Akura, I think. Apologies. I apologize. I shouldn't have even attempted it, but thank you for your comment down below as well. All right, Paul.
Let's pick up Maddie Press Parkers. We'll take her from over there. She can partner up with her sister.
And we'll take Levi Ashcroft next year as well, who's probably going father-son to Brisbane.
One.
But, there's another Geelong supporter, probably. We're assuming he'll probably come to Geelong in a couple of years as well. All right, what a great season, Paul. It's got to come to an end, though. Probably the last live show for us for a while. But just if you're still with us, and there's still 7 people in the live chat, which it's impressive. I don't know if you're feeling the rage like we are, and that's why you're here, or it's because we're just so magnetic at the moment. But I'm not going to say what it is, but there is a big announcement regarding the show coming probably very late in the year.
Yeah, maybe early in the new year.
So we'll see on that one. So watch this space. It's very exciting. We're very excited about it, and we won't say too much more just yet.
But beyond that, you're already working behind the scenes on behind the play guests and those sort of things.
Yes,
I've received the messages with the little green tick next to them. Like, oh, here we go. When that just pops out of nowhere, that's always a good sign. And it's really fascinating to kind of see as Ben starts weaving his way through the recent draftees and starts sliding into DMs and those sorts of things. It's always good. There's a little hint for people. I'm probably annoyed. If you know anyone, if you're online and you know anyone at the club, whether they're an administrator in the women's team or the men's team, and you want to put in a good word for us, we've had so many interviews already. We just had Steve Hocking. If you're new to this channel, Steve Hocking, the CEO of Geelong, came on recently. We've had Brian Myers early last year as well. I made him.
I loved it. You made it. You turned him into the player that he is. We all know that. Everybody knows that. Brian knows that. That's why he finished on the podium in the Cardew Greaves medal this year.
That's right.
It's all because
not be shouted out properly.
Yeah, exactly. I was waiting for it. I just want to thank Paul James. Wipe away a tear. It wasn't meant to be. So yeah, look, there's heaps of those episodes up there as well. Especially if you sit on the
evergreen content,
all that sort of stuff. So they're good episodes. They'll always be there if you want to have. I think we've got a playlist of them, so check those ones out as well. Guys, we're 45 minutes in. Really appreciate you being here. It's been fun talking about the Cats. I'm still hurting. I'm sure Paul is as well. It's been a tough 24, 48 hours, but 36 hours, whatever it is. But we move on and we go again in 2024. We got to stay strong. We got to stay Geelong strong, don't we, Paul?
We do.
We have to stay
our thing.
Geelong strong.
I think the club has moved on from that motto, that slogan, that tagline.
They won in hoops
we've
now,
stuck with
aren't
it,
they?
so who cares? Yeah.
One in the hoop show. That's what they are. Is that how it goes?
One in the hoop show. There we go.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Go Cats. Stay Geelong strong, and we'll see you next Sunday for our topic shows. Take care, everyone.
See you guys.